Uh, oh dear. Sorry, everyone. It's his first time. Yeah. Did you not do one of these yesterday in Portuguese? Uh, oh, there we go. We've seen something like there we go. No? Any? Just talk amongst yourself, guys. We'll be with you in a minute.
Yeah, we're all set. So again, yeah, we're not doing that again. Sorry for everyone. Sorry
At least
for
it proves
everything.
we're live.
Yeah, I'm going to blame this on Microsoft. So welcome everyone. Welcome to the Draft and Pray podcast for the third time. I am your host, Pedro Barbosa, your dumb host that forgot to set everything up before. In my defense, I had to I by mistake I upgraded my OS to Windows 11 and everything just went away, but we're all set now. So no music, no intro music, just a few seconds of intro music. So yeah, we were talking about not having a different race winner apart from we're like you said, we talked about this in the beginning of the season that Max would probably win most of the races if not for something weird happening. And it seems that he is so under the limits of his abilities and the limits of his car that it doesn't seem that that's going to change anytime soon.
Yeah, I mean, let's be honest. He's getting pushed in qualifying the last couple of races and maybe not extracting maximum performance. Or he's getting pushed in qualifying, at least, shall we say. But he's also got the confidence in himself and the car to know that he can start second and he doesn't necessarily even have to wait for the DRS to be enabled. And he knows he's going to make the difference and pull through. So it's as it's been said before, it would be a brilliant championship if Max wasn't in it. Very tight at the top and good battles, but he is, and we also can't fault him and Red Bull for the job they're doing.
Yeah, it always seemed to be one of the characteristics of that car, even last year, that because the tire performance is so good on the races that it must be that they don't seem to fire up the tires as quickly as some other cars, and that makes it not as easy to do a good lap on qualifying, but then on race day it makes you just like make those tires last forever. So that's probably why they have such. It's not poor performance on qualifying, but seems to
No,
make everyone closer to them.
Yeah, they're just getting pushed a little bit harder in quali.
Yeah, and that made the first time this season that the Red Bull is not on the P1, right?
Yeah, correct.
Wait, wasn't Leclerc on P1 for a sprint race? But that's not a Grand Prix, so
Yeah, they don't count.
that's a
They're
sprint
pretending.
shootout, not qualifying. Yeah, okay, I'm confused already. Uh, so yeah, and talking about qualifying, we had for the first time the thing that we already talked about here in the podcast that maybe they
They were
should.
listening.
Yeah, they were They listened. They listened to this podcast. Uh, so they had, and Rui actually so noticed yesterday that one of our podcasts had many more views than usual. So maybe that's what happened. FIA heard us talk for 90 times. That was the view we had, I think.
Yeah,
So
we'll pretend. We'll go with that.
yeah, we'll go with that. So what happened was everyone went out on the hard tires on Q1, mediums on Q2, and softs on Q3. I actually liked the part of knowing that everyone was on the same compound of tires. It was kind of cool. So we're calling that a win.
It is. I think the only thing I think could make it more interesting, and it doesn't it doesn't help the concept of Q3 being the cars at their ultimate fastest, but is having the tyres split the other way around. So everyone's on the softs in Q1, which gives the lower down teams a bit more chance to put a time in. Because let's be honest, your lower down teams generally on the hard tyres haven't been good.
Yeah, probably they aren't as efficient in their downforce, so probably a bit more mechanical grip could happen, could help them.
So there's a bit more scope for maybe someone sneaking through into Q2. Then everyone's on mediums, but it means obviously Q3. Then it would be hards, which again would throw a different dynamic in. But I don't think they'll ever do that because they want the soft compound tires, low fuel, fast as possible. You don't want the Q3 time to be slower than Q1.
Yeah, I don't. Yeah, I don't think that.
I don't think it'll happen. It's the only thing I'd like to see them try, just out of interest. But yeah, I think it worked well.
They could actually try that on a sprint shootout.
Yeah.
So
It wouldn't be difficult to try it, right? If you're listening, guys.
Yeah, more 100 views on this video and make it happen for a sprint shootout. Softs, mediums, and then hards. Last Q3 or SQ3. SQ3. Yeah, it's just the naming is weird. So it's sprint shootout 3, but it's SQ. So not
SSQ3.
No, because the Q, so SS1. Oh, okay, I know why they don't just call it by the initials. Okay, okay, I got that. Okay, I got that now. Yeah, it's about the war. Let's not talk about the war. Okay, moving ahead. Anyway. So yeah, some notable things about qualifying were that Russell was, I think, unlucky. I don't think it was that he was slow that made him not going through on Q1.
No, they tried to be clever and they tried to play the being the last car across the line, and it came back to bite them when there was traffic and he just didn't get a lap in. But yeah, that was it was his engineering staff's fault, who played that game and didn't work this time.
Yeah, definitely. The other notable thing was that Ricardo actually outqualified Tsunoda and went through to Q2. like Tsunoda. So that's a good sign, let's say. Sainz didn't go to Q3, so but let's be honest, the Ferrari was not that good on this track, let's say.
No, they weren't at the races, that's for sure.
Yeah, and that actually connects very well to the next part, which was he had an Alfa Romeo ahead of both Ferraris, which made Mr. Leclerc very confused. So Guan Yu Zhou, Guan Yu, I don't know how they switch it around in Chinese.
Yeah, just Joe.
Joe. Well, I actually qualified P5, and he had a surprise for me at least. The car that it's so shit at low speed corners actually qualified P3 and P4 with Norris. Yeah, very close to pole position. So close to pole position that he said he was angry with himself to not get pole position. So, what we think about this Maka?
They've done the work, haven't they? They said at the start of the season, oops, we've gone down the wrong road. We're not going to carry on now. We've got to start again, and it's going to be Baku or whenever it was before we get like the B spec car. And they have basically redesigned the car. And listening to Lando's interview today on Sky, he was saying that they asked him about the car and the changes, and he said the balance is the same. Everything's pretty much the same on it. It's just fast now. Obviously, he's not going to tell everyone what they've done, but they've. Okay, so I spoke to my friend at Mercedes, and I said, "So, what do you reckon? Max have found some pace?" And the answer I'd normally get is, they were lucky, or a sort of a bullshit excuse as to why they got quick. And all he said was, they've done a good job. And to me, that speaks volumes when they're saying, there's no luck in this, there's no magic thing. They've just done a good job. They've got it on. So yeah, I'm impressed. I didn't expect them to have that sort of swing in pace.
Yeah, I was impressed in the beginning of the year when they came out of just off the winter break and just said, "Yeah, this we haven't even hit the track, but we know that our car is shit, and we're going to try and solve it. We couldn't because of time, because we noticed too late to do anything about it for the start of the season. They actually took a little bit more time getting the upgrades that they wanted out because they wanted in Baku, like you said, and it only came for part of it in Austria and then in Silverstone. So yeah, that even more impressive than knowing that the car is shit, that's not going to work like they wanted it, that the way that they went about it wouldn't work, was actually being able to do something about it in the middle of a season, which in this era of cost caps and everything else, it's actually very impressive. So yeah,
Yeah, when you look to the other M team, the Mercedes, and they went the other route where the car was not working, and they persisted with it, going, no, we can fix it. They didn't fix it, and then they essentially changed their direction and added half pods, and now they've basically got normal side pods, and all of a sudden the car's quick again. So if they had not persisted with the zero pod concept and essentially scrapped it and started afresh, they might have been closer at the start of the season.
yeah, and that car actually looks half decent now. I never liked that, but
Yeah, it was that thing you saw it the first time and you went, okay, that's different. Mm. It you generally cars look fast, don't they?
yeah,
A good looking car is a fast car, and you just looked at it and went, yeah, I just don't. No, not
yeah,
for me. Not for me.
not for me as well. But now it actually looks good. Delivery looks good. I just don't like the nose cone. But to be honest, I don't like the nose cone on Mac as well. That's another thing. And taking his 104th pole position of his career was Mr. Lewis Hamilton. That was a good last sector, let's say.
Yeah.
I think last sector was the most impressive thing about that.
Well, the old man's still got it, hasn't he?
Oh yeah,
Given the right car and everything, he's definitely proven that he could be. Whether he could contest a season with Max, I don't know, but he's definitely got the pace.
yeah. He's actually getting to that age of Raikkonen when he was um, on the last part of his Ferrari stint. Was the last Ferrari stint that he did.
Yeah.
But I do think that Lewis has a little bit more hunger for it than Kimi had.
Kimi, it was only ever a hobby.
Yeah.
Let's be
Formula One
honest.
world champion hobbyist. So yeah.
As soon as he came back, it was it's playtime,
And
playtime, and getting paid
money time.
millions to do it.
Yeah, yeah. Which make us love him even more.
100%.
So yeah, that was it. So both alphas on Alfa Romeos. Oh, I'm so looking forward for that other alpha
Names
team
to
to change the name. Uh, Although we're not going to have any Alfa Romeo next season, I think.
either
That's
way. No, yeah,
yeah. So only if the rumors are true that they are going to switch to us. So yeah, that might be good. So then we don't have to listen to Haas jokes. So yeah, that was our qualifying Hamilton, Verstappen, Norris, Piastri. So both McLarens on the second row of the grid. Then Zhu, Leclerc, Bottas, Alonso, Perez, Hülkenberg. So let's talk about Perez just for a moment. Let's do qualifying and racing and just be done with it. uh, a bit better, but yeah, not good
he
enough.
did. He did better, yes, but I don't know how many times we have to say it. He's got a car that was front row and has been the standout car at every circuit. It's he should be in the top six every weekend, not starting 12th and working his way up to the top six or starting 18th. He should be front three rows of the grid and basically seeing how close he can get to Max and finishing second.
Yeah, and let's be honest, Russell started in P18 for this race, so we had that little thing, and he finished P6 with a Mercedes, not a Red Bull, on a track that
Yeah.
it's very difficult to overtake. So, yeah, no excuses for Paris.
No, it's just it was an interesting one because I watched the interviews, the driver briefing interviews of that today from Spa, and they were asking him how his performance was through the year. And he said he's obviously had a few bad races, but the feeling of the car has gone away from how he liked it at the start of the year. So whether it's something to do with the upgrades Red Bull have done, have made the car not to his driving. Because let's be honest, at the start of the season, he was quick, and we thought he could give Max a run for his money, at least at a couple of races. So whether there's something changed within the Red Bull or something's been changed on his car, but he's saying the balance isn't quite where he's liking it, but
Yeah,
end of the day, he shouldn't be that far back.
yeah, and we do know that Red Bull is capable of having two different specs of cars running. He had a different spec of car last year because he liked another floor
Yeah,
better than the one Max preferred. So I really don't get that part. Unless Red Bull are trying to get him down, and I don't believe that because
it's not
they
in their interest.
they want to be world champions as soon as possible.
And not only that, let's be honest, all these teams, especially at the forefront like that, they know the history, they know the records, and they want to, 12 in a row. Yeah, but they want 1-2s in a row. They want to have, essentially, they want pole position at every race, fastest lap at every race, and a 1-2 at every race for a whole season, and do 100% just to fully demoralize and destroy their competitors. If I was in the team, that's what I'd be sitting there saying. That's what I want. That is season perfection. Winning the championship alone is great, but we want to decimate them. Simples. And that's what Red Bull are doing. And he's not fulfilling that duty of, let's be honest, his contract will say number two. And as a number two, he should be finishing second every weekend. So that if Max has a problem, he's there to pick up the pieces and take the glory for saving the day. That's your job as a number two.
Yeah, I do think that his salvation is Aston Martin actually, because if that Aston didn't go so down on performance, and we could go there next, because hasn't gone too good for them as well. If Aston was as quick as in the beginning of the year, of the first part of the year, I do think that Alonso would be in front of Sergio in the standings right now.
Yeah.
So that's actually allowing him to breathe a little bit more, which gives him one less excuse for the poor performances. So, and let's not forget that Red Bull still hasn't had any season where they finished P1 in championship and P1 and P2 in the drivers standings. So
Yeah.
I think they do want that because it's that final piece of the puzzle for the team.
Ticking all the boxes.
Yeah, just ticking up all the boxes. So yeah, let's continue and to Aston. What the hell is going on there?
I don't know. It's either okay. Let's be honest. Maccas have leapfrogged them. I don't think they were expecting to. I think they were sort of hoping to get around being able to race the Astons as opposed to just chasing them. But whether the development side of things, they're playing. This is their first time really as a top four team, and they were playing all really big bollocks at the start of the season. But have they been able to continue the development? And Sir Lawrence, the man who wants to be knighted, I mean, something's not come in their development package, or is it just everyone else is developing better around them?
Yeah, another part that could be playing a part on this is cost cap. so many things that could play a major part of this. It might be that they are not bringing upgrades as fast as everyone else and might bring a bigger package later in the season. Something that could start and get them on a path to 2024. We don't know. Alonso doesn't seem to be too bothered about it, which is weird. He's a bit too calm about it.
Yeah, there's either something. He either knows something, and it was like, we're gonna have a couple of. Because if I remember, Hungary was one of the races he stated as, "Oh, I could win that with this car." So either he knows something, and he's just gone, "Yep, okay, we know we're gonna have 3 bad races, and then we've got an upgrade coming." Or he's that overjoyed with how good the start of the season was that they weren't expecting. He now doesn't care. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, but let's be honest, he doesn't want to just fight for podiums. He wants to get that third championship.
Oh
So,
yeah,
and he's not
I
going
mean
to get it this year. So,
he's not going to get it at Aston.
okay. I know. I
Yep.
agree with you. I
mean,
don't think
yes,
he's.
there's all possibilities that they could find a magic Adrian Newey design for next year and compete with the Red Bulls. I just don't see it. If one thing we know for fact in Formula One is everything is a development process. You go back through the 90s, Williams won for 2, 3, 4 years. Then McLaren won 2, 3, 4 years. Then you had Ferrari dominance for 3, 4, 5, 8 years. Then you went back to McLaren. Then you went to Williams. And then it went back to the Mercedes era, or you had a session of Red Bull in there. There's always a little window of 3 to 4 years of supreme dominance. But it's always preceded by a couple of years of being almost there, and then it clicks. The Aston's nowhere near to almost there. They've had a good. They're like a Brawn. Look at Brawn. Same old thing. The car, that Honda was full factory Honda chassis, just with a donkey of an engine in it, and all of a sudden Brawn buys it, sticks a Mercedes in the back of it, and voila.
Yeah, the Braun is actually a even bigger story than that, because that double diffuser was something that I think actually Honda questioned Formula One. So for that gray area, and everyone joked about it. Yeah, and then they just did it.
Yeah. They had the FIA people. They had Herbie Blash. They had everyone at the thing going, "This is what we're doing. Is it legal?" And the FIA were like, "Yep, yep."
But they even talked with other teams.
Yeah, and it's
So
like
it
we're
was
doing.
all. It's the weirdest
I
thing
mean,
that I've.
you would have thought it was a Drive to Survive original.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Do
So
we?
I think their best hope is 2025, when the engine regulation change and they become the Honda factory team. So yeah, I do think that that's the closest that they can hope for, be a championship contender. And even that will take a brilliant design, not only aerodynamics and car wise, and engine wise as well. We do think that probably that Honda in the back of that Red Bull and AlphaTauri is a mega engine. They really nailed it. Another thing that I've heard, talking about engines, let's switch it up to Alpine. Let's leapfrog for Alpine. Today's race was.
I mean, we can do their race review and then we can talk about them. So they got down to turn 1,
And that's done.
and then they both parked it in the garage, and that was their day over.
Yeah,
So anyway,
Joe basically did not start the race at the same time as everyone else, and then did not brake or turn 1 as at the same time as everyone else, and then he clipped Ricardo. Ricardo then clipped Ocon, and then Ocon went into Gasly, and both Alpines were out.
and Rui started crying.
Oh, definitely in French. So yeah, so that was race over. It was not being a mega weekend for them, pace wise. At least qualifying, they qualified P12 and Gasly was P15, so it was not a good qualifying for them. But then that happening, yeah, it was just awful.
Yeah, it was unfortunate.
Yeah,
100% not their fault. Nothing they could do. It's just sickening when you lose both cars.
Yeah. And what I was going to say about them is that I've actually heard that they estimate that they are 10 horsepower down on everyone else, engine-wise. And that makes me cringe a little bit, because wasn't it the reliability problems of last year all down to they now having a mega engine?
Allegedly.
So one more thing for them to just bang their heads about. Let's hope Deadpool Grand Prix will be more successful than
Yeah, DGP, they're probably going to do something more.
Yeah, because it doesn't make any sense for them to be like this and struggle as much as they've been struggling.
No, at the end of the day, it's not doing the brand any good. And I think they'll go and focus on other avenues.
Probably sell the team. But I think both of us think that that team is not going to be. This team and Stone is not going to be either Alpine or Renault, or what's the other brand? Infinity. What about it? Dacia would be cool. But they are going to the Dakar. No, I was talking about Dacia because Dacia is actually owned by Renault. But they are going Dakar with both. That makes more sense than Alpine in F1.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it just doesn't.
WRC would make more sense for Alpine to be in than Formula 1, because Alpine was actually good on rally and not.
Yeah.
Yeah, doesn't make much sense.
Or sports cars, which this ish.
Yeah, and their new car is going.
Not quite, yeah.
Yeah. So Renault is the only brand within that whole group that makes sense to be in Formula 1, and Renault is not in Formula 1. So yeah, let's not get into that rabbit hole again. I've done that for hours in the Portuguese podcast. I don't want to.
No, we don't. That's enough French for tonight.
So yeah. So yeah, then yeah, that I don't know. That the landscape is going to completely change in, or at least we think is going to completely change in. So then into T1, let's talk about T1, because it was T1 and the first stint was the most interesting part of the race. T1 because actually Norris and Verstappen had a much better start than Lewis. Verstappen got into the inside for T1, so in the right side, and squeezed Hamilton to the outside, like he is allowed to.
Yeah, he just ran in a bit hot, didn't he?
Yeah. And because Norris he had a better start than Lewis, but didn't have the space on the inside, they had to go on the outside and just wait. And then he
He
waited
can't-
and waited a little bit again, and the race has ended. That's the only reason why he isn't waiting for his time to turn in. It seemed like that. And that just meant that he got behind Hamilton, and then Piastri was like a old wise fox on the inside,
just
and they procked both of them and got into P2 and went behind Verstappen. So Verstappen's race was over from that point on. He just went away and said goodbye to everyone and put the low power engine mode and cruise to victory.
didn't Oscar try to go around the outside at T2?
Yeah.
And that was it. Like, see ya.
Yeah, that was it. No other way to describe
To
it.
be fair, I think Oscar had a good race.
Oh yeah, definitely.
He's I'll be honest, I've not liked him, and I don't like his attitude, but he's slowly growing with his performances because he's proving he's got some legit pace in him.
Oh, definitely. But I do also think that Norris put him in his place on this race. And what I mean by this was not like on track battle or anything like that, but after that start, then Norris passed Lewis, and then he was just hanging behind Oscar, and Oscar probably felt very good with himself that Norris wasn't able to catch him. But what I do think that happened was that Norris was just saving his tires and then did a mega in and out lap on his first pit stop and gained what?
Oh yeah, 100%.
4 or 5 seconds on just 2 laps. Oh, it was amazing. Even Lewis was like, how the did he gain like 6 seconds on us? He actually asked that on the radio, so that was just a mega play.
I mean, Lando's claiming the car's still difficult to drive in aspects of it, which I'm sure it is, and he's struggling with lap by lap consistency. But the one thing he has got is he is able, like Max with the Red Bull, he is able to extract maximum when he needs to in a race. He's extracting maximum every lap, and Oscar can't. Same as when Hamilton was on fire and he trusted the car. It might not be 100% to your liking, but when you trust the car, you can get maximum lap after lap, and that's where the difference is being made.
Yeah. So yeah, then what I just said happened, and Norris was just amazing in those 2 laps, and he actually got P2, not P2, but the podium on those 2 laps, and then hanging out in front of Perez, and Perez not being able to catch him was what gave him P2. So yeah, amazing race by both McLarens, but but then Piastri. The only thing is Piastri then probably wasn't able to save his tires or handle his tire life as well as Norris. So then he went backwards a little bit towards the end of the race. So good first stint, and then from the first pit stop onwards towards the end of the race, he lost progressively.
We also seem to forget his rookie year.
Yeah, it's rookie year. So yeah.
And as hard as it is to believe, it's Lando's 5th season.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? He feels like he's only in his second or third year, but 5 years of experience, and that's the difference.
Let's be honest, 5 years of experience, and all but probably one of those years, and even in that one that I'm talking about, the car was not that good, so it was passable.
Oh, no, yeah.
So he hasn't had any season with a car off season.
No, and he's just got the life experience, shall we say, of F1 that makes the difference.
Which actually can, if he ever gets a car for fighting for the championship, I do think that this experience will help him massively. to then being able to just, if he ever
But
gets a car.
he said about Hamilton, didn't he? Hamilton always moaning about their car shit and it's this and it's that, and then he puts it on pole. He goes, he's got no idea. Try racing for 15, for 19th and 20th at the start of the season. Our car was shit. Now we're good. That's the difference. You can't moan about something when you're racing for points still.
Yeah. Yeah, but let's not
But
forget.
we have to move away from the Lando love fest.
Oh, Lando Love Fest, and not going to say the last part of what I wanted to say. So yeah, that was basically the race, and in the end, it was not a bad race per se. At least the first part of the race was kind of entertaining and interesting. But then it all evened out, and we actually had two Red Bulls, two McLarens, two Ferraris, two Mercedes, and two Aston on P10. So only those teams got points in the end. So yeah,
Sums it up, doesn't it?
yes, it does.
TV, I mean, for me, the best part of the race was Sky have trialed a new Sky F1 Juniors. So it's the same feed with different graphics, and then it's got one, adult commentator, but they've got kids doing the commentary. So I think these kids were like 10, 11, young carters, and we turned on just to see what it was about with the graphics, and it's quite funny because they're obviously cartoon-esque avatars, but every time Perez passed someone, his little avatar pops up in the bottom corner going, yeah, yeah, celebrating the pass. And when you get lots of passes, you just get lots of avatars popping up on the screen. So I mean, yes, it's for the kids, but it made a different aspect of watching the race. I think the graphics are 10 times better. I sent you the picture of them.
Yeah, that's just better. I want that bit.
But to be fair to the kids, you had a kid of 11 years old explaining to the audience about rear tire deg and how much it is affected by heat and the DRS. And I'm like, okay, they've got kids that know their shit. So I'm kind of interested to see which other races they trial it at, because it was.
Oh, and that question for Alonso and Russell on the Friday was just.
I think the best question I heard from them was during the race. They had Stefano Domenicali go in to the commentator booth because they had a video. They had like webcam up of it, and there's one of the little kids, and it was like, so boss of Formula One. Have you got a question? You can ask him any question. And he said, so Stefano, considering how relatively unfair the races are with Red Bull constantly winning, is there ever a thought of F1 going to be a spec championship to make it more interesting? And you could see the face of Dominicali go, well, actually, we've got a lot of manufacturers, and their thing is they like to show their skills. But I was like, that's brilliant. First question, first guest on the first F1 Juniors, and he's got the boss, and he's gone, so
Because he
Red Bull are
cannot
winning.
do anything to the kid. He has to answer.
It's live, and he's just like, yeah. Well, we've got manufacturers, and they all need to show their skills. But never saying it, and he kind of laughed it off. And he goes, anyway, so the racing. But
And
I
what
was like,
was that some kid just called Nico Rosberg Brittany or whatever it was?
oh no. Oh no, I know that was Nico's That was his nickname in F1,
Yeah.
Brittany, and I know the guys at Mercedes. He was nicknamed Brittany and always known as Brittany. So that's a legit one. But yeah, I think let's be honest, it doesn't take away from the seriousness that is this is Formula One and the thing, but it's just we've sort of had this discussion the other day where at the end of the day, it's a TV show, it's a series, it's a Drive to Survive sort of thing, and having the kids involved and slightly different graphics. I think the graphics should be an option. You should be able to look at the standard serious F1 graphics, or you should be able to choose. They're not showing you any false information. They're just done. Personally, I found them a lot easier to read because it was just easier. It's more visual than it is having to go, oh, who's that over there? Oh yeah, with the official stuff.
Yeah. And it was one of those things. I actually watched a video about the graphics, because of what it was it called in the later part of the 90s? Was it not Bernicast? What was it? When first Formula One tried to have its own feed.
Oh, I can't.
I'll then show you. It was a video by, what was it called? I shared with you his YouTube channel, Millward, Andy Millward, something like that. Save Motorsports YouTube channel, and it talked about that. Formula One actually tried having its own broadcast, not exactly like F1 TV, but something like that in the Bernie era, and it was basically what made them change those yellow graphics of the 90s for the white ones of the beginning of the new of the 2000s. And yeah, they progressively, as resolution does improve in broadcasting, they change the graphics and make them a little bit smaller because it's easier to read on a, like, we're into probably 4K some feeds. But I do think that sometimes it's too much information on the screen. They are just
And the thing is, the way the world we live in now with technology, and most satellite systems that run it have Sky. You have the red button option to go in, and you can watch the whole race from any of the 20 drivers onboard cameras, or you can choose, like with NASCAR, you can choose a specific driver and you hear him and his spotter all race. And should you be a diehard fan and only want to be in Denny Hamlin's car or whoever, I think which would be more spectator and user friendly, is have an option to be able to choose the commentary you want, whether you want, for us, Martin Brundle and Frosty, the main F1 guys. Do you want commentary from the WTF1 guys that run the podcast, or do you want the kids podcast? Do you want the kids graphics? I think you should be able to. The whole world today is about customability.
I actually have a little bit more experience on that than you, because I do have access to F1 TV, or I had. Now I use the Portuguese broadcaster, but I used to have F1 TV, and you can't in the UK. So I was able to get two different English commentators. So either I had the Sky one, or F1 has their own one with Alex Randall and who's the other guy? Can't remember. Jack something. So those guys that you see, basically those guys that you see on the Formula One videos on YouTube, you have those guys commentating on the race and on the pit lane as well. So just like Sky, and then on F1 TV you have all the other languages. The kids, I'm not sure because I don't have F1 TV
I think,
anymore.
to be fair, that it was the first time they've done it, and whether they've just trialed it on Sky and will move it out to the other ones, I don't know.
Yeah, it's something kind of cool. We had something similar to that here in Portugal in the tennis. It was Wimbledon. So we had the final on two channels on the actual broadcaster that we have Formula One as well. So you had on it's Sport TV called the channel here, and they have multiple channels, just like Sky or
Yeah.
us. And on the first channel, they had the match with the usual commentators, and on the fifth channel, I think it was on the fifth channel, they had two comedians that they liked tennis. They are tennis fans, but they are two very well-known comedians in Portugal, just commentating on the match, and it was just better.
Yeah.
Because it's a different. It just makes you see it
It's just a
differently.
bit fresh. It's
Yeah.
just, like you say, different perspective. Because let's be honest, if you've been watching F1 long enough, you've listened to the same comment. So back in the 90s, Murray, every race, Murray Walker, and you knew what you're getting. And it's a nice change when you do have the option to, especially if you've got someone who actually knows what they're talking about and they're a fan more than anything doing it is nice. I don't think you want just anyone doing it. Not
Oh
like
no,
us or
definitely.
anything. That'd be silly.
Yeah, you have the two sides of the.
We'll do that. We'll have to do a race. We'll do a watch along, and we'll do
Oh,
commentary.
we can do that. We definitely should do that and probably stream it. So we're both watching it and um just streaming it like this and just keep
So we'll talk
commentating on
about
it.
the first lap, then we'll drink some beer for 40 laps, and then we'll talk about the finish. Watch Lando break a trophy again.
So beer sponsors that want to send beer, we
Yeah,
can.
I'll be on that one.
Yeah, I can be on that one. I don't have it here, but
There we
I'm
go.
actually drinking cider, so women drink kind of thing.
I'm not going to say anything. All
So
other alcohols are available.
yeah. So yeah, we can actually. I think it was. I actually thought about that because the ex WTF one, the two main ones that got out of the WTF was Matt and the other one. They now have their own thing, and they actually stream their like we are now, and they stream.
Yeah, I've seen some of those. They're quite
It's
good
actually
watch along.
yeah, it's quite cool.
If I remember, one of them, he's a diehard Ferrari fan and
A
Leclerc fan.
Leclerc fan, yeah. Matt
Yeah.
is a diehard Leclerc fan, and yeah, some of his reactions are quite cool, and the other
Yeah,
one making fun of him.
epic.
So yeah, we can actually do that. Definitely do that. So yeah, it was Verstappen, Norris, Perez, Hamilton, Piastri, Russell, Leclerc, Sainz, Alonso, and Stroll in the end. So all very vanilla. That means that Verstappen is in P1 in the standings with 281 points. We're what, in the middle of the season? Just crazy. Just
Yeah.
crazy.
Oh, domination.
Total domination. Perez in P2 in no man's land with 171. Then Alonso and Hamilton very close to each other. So only 5 points. Yeah, 6 points. Then Russell, Sainz still in front of Leclerc. Then Norris in front of Stroll. Not only leapfrogging both Alpines, but in front of Stroll. Yeah. Then Ocon, and then Piastri in P11. On the team's championship, Red Bull, Mercedes, Aston, Ferrari, and then McLaren with almost double the points of the Alpine. And of course, Rossi was fired from Alpine. Let's see who is going there. I don't think we know yet. I don't know. I don't care.
No,
Unless they announce Ryan Reynolds as the new team manager, I don't care for now.
Yeah, I don't think it's going to be.
No, it's not going to be him.
I
I'm
don't think it's
joking.
going to be. I mean, it'd be awesome if it was, but I
No,
just
no,
don't
he's
think.
not. No. He is not the manager of Wrexham, and he I mean, oh, you know who I would like for, and is actually an F1 fan, and is from that part of almost Hollywood. Bill Burr.
Oh no,
Hearing
come on.
Bill Burr talking about F1 is fucking awesome.
Yeah, somehow I don't think that's going to be a good idea.
Oh, it would be awesome. Awesome. Uh, the last of the men,
Yeah,
son.
I don't know how long it would last if Bill Burr took over. He'd break F1.
Oh, definitely. He would be a good commentator, actually, for a joke thing. So yeah, that was it for the Hungarian Grand Prix. We actually have another race this weekend, Spa. It's going to rain, so I'll just say to everyone, good summer, because we're not going to have a race. Yeah, it's going to be weird because we had a death not that long ago, that place, because of rain as
I,
well. So
I think Spa is slowly building itself into being off of F1. I think they have another bad race there, and I think the drivers are never going to say no, we won't go there because they love it because it's a driver's circuit. But I think the teams will go short of reprofiling Eau Rouge and Radion, so it's basically a small dip and not an actual corner. I can't see them wanting to go back there.
and it's not only those corners that are the problem. Visibility on the part after that, so all of those trees, keeping the spray in the track and not allowing it to disperse into the air. All of that part of the circuit is making the circuit be almost undrivable for these new um, cars. So not only these new cars, it was already bad, but our safety standards are just that much higher now.
Yeah, and it's not. At the end of the day, and don't get me wrong, I love Spa. It is, as circuits go, driving wise, it's fantastic. It's awesome. To doing 2 minutes laps that feel like 30 seconds. Do you know what I mean? But it doesn't. The only race that can get away, and how much longer it will get away with death, is the Isle of Man. It's the only race where you're guaranteed death, and everyone knows that someone will die this race period, and it still goes ahead because of the fanaticism by the teams and riders. Spa doesn't have that, and I think there. Sounds bad to say there isn't enough prestige around it for someone to die and it still carry on, but there isn't. I think that is what's going to end it for Formula One, and it might just end up its pinnacle race will be Spa 24 Hours in GT3, and maybe
Yeah,
WEC will
Wax still goes there for now.
big in for how long?
Yeah, because we actually had a
You,
few huge
well, you
crashes
had a
with GT3s as well.
GT3s, and then you had the Caddy at Spa. There, the Caddy destroyed itself there.
Yeah,
Rangavanga Banda.
yes, I know.
Is in in the yellow caddy. Something tipped a bit of slightly offline, bit of patch of water, bang in the barriers at Eau Rouge, destroyed car. There's only so many times you can have consistent incidents like that before someone turns around and goes, the circuit insurance will become too much. The circuit won't be able to hold the races, or the teams will say, no, we're not going because of.
Yeah, it's getting to that point where before, every time that Spa was coming, everyone got excited. Now I just feel it is everyone just looks at the weather forecast and cringes. Um, and that makes it not as enjoyable, even for the fans, I think.
Yeah, because you're on the grandstand, like let's say the 24 hour, for example. You're on the grandstand, you're walking around the circuit as much as you can't really walk around Spa because of it being in the middle of the mountains, so you only have certain areas you can get to. It's one thing if do you remember the race in 2020 when it was pissing down rain and everything? And, oh yeah, but the 3 years either side of that was sunny. It's a novelty for a fully wet 24 hours. Now it's a novelty to have a dry 24 hours. Now it's a novelty to have a dry race in general. So yeah, I think it will. I can't see how much longer it will be around for.
yeah, and
As much
I
as I need to say it.
I actually didn't quite get the changes that they did to the circuit because Rouge is basically the same corner, just has a little bit more runoff, but the profile of the runoff is still the same, which spits the cars onto the track. Um,
Yeah, so it's an out of control spinning driverless, well, say driverless, but out of control car spinning back into the line of traffic, popping over a hill. And with modern technology, anything over a GT3 car through there is pretty much flat with modern
and
cars.
GT3 is must be getting almost there.
That's what I mean. At GT3, the top guys will be flat, but the rest will be just maybe a little feather. So everything above GT3 is flat and popping over the brow, and there's a car spinning out of control. You don't even know if that to pick left or right. You've just got to almost go straight and hope that the car, Days of Thunder, go straight and hope the car's not there when you get there.
Yeah, yeah, it's actually hard to talk about it. Just
It is.
because.
It's not. It's it's a difficult one. I've been at circuits where people have died to the point I've been at. My first instance with it was karting and a young karter, 8 years old, and I mean that's brutal. The kid's not even started his career, and he was said to be better than at that age, and he was better than Hamilton. So you sit there and go, what could have been if this kid had got a chance? Then through later in life, and I saw my own teammate get killed in Most in Czech Republic, and yeah, it's a different thing where you've just got to. You're doing a job at the end of the day, so you put your emotions aside and you sit on the grid and tell the team he's dead, and they go, no, 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 it's all good, and you're like, no. And then they go, right, we're restarting in 5 minutes, and you go and race again. So I've had enough experience of the bad side of this industry that the Spa stuff and that I can sort of look at it frankly and emotionless because I've been in that situation where you have to disconnect from reality and think of it only as job. Oh, this went a bit downhill. So, right, anyway, so Danny Rick to IndyCar. We're still pushing it.
Yeah. Let's hope. Yeah, we always hope that nothing happens. Safety of the drivers and everyone is, I think, much more important for us than everything else. And if that means that we lose Spa, so be it. I would rather not see anyone die.
At the end of the day, we can
Yeah.
lose Spa and we can all go on iRacing and race it there
Yeah, definitely.
safely.
Safely. Yeah. So yeah, let's end it there. Let's just hope that it there doesn't rain, or if it rains, it's not that bad that doesn't allow us to race safely. So yeah, we'll be back next week. We probably try to do it a little bit early on the week. I was going to say for that this next part of summer we could try that, but we're not going to have races in the summer, so it's going to be Spa and then Zandvoort in the end of August. Let's see how we'll do that.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll work that out.
It's going to be the first podcast, or one of the first special podcasts that we're going to have until the end of the year.
Till
Let's
the
see
end of forever.
Yeah, the end of forever, but it's that little detail of where you're going to be till the end of the year, at least. Yeah, but we'll work that out and keep soldiering on. So yeah, thank you guys. Thank you for being here with us, watching, listening, if it's podcast, if just audio or video. Thank you. Again, sorry for that intro thing. I'm going to give you music now in the end. So yeah, bye guys, and have a good weekend at Spa. Bye.
Cheers.
Bump, Draft and Pray is an independent podcast, and the music was by Latin Punk Snow.